Are you tired of missing your attack rolls? Don't worry, I got you covered. Welcome to the Attic Dungeon. My name is Sam, and whether you want to hit or hit, I'm here to help you with everything. I want to thank you guys for watching my videos. Huzzah, yay you! If you want to help me even more, spread the word about my stuff to other people so that my followers may grow in number. Nothing is as frustrating as swinging that big sword but not hitting your target. A friend of mine thinks the odds to hit, the base odds, are too low in Dungeons & Dragons, and especially for him, today's build will fix all your issues with hitting. As always, with builds, I'm going to take both of them up to level 8, and I'll start with any common ground they might have. And actually, they have common ground. Yes, they do. They have a class, and, well, one level of a class, and a race in common. We'll start with the race. Since we're working on raising our chance to hit, there is only one race that can help us. I've used them so many times, I almost felt bad using them again, but I do love them. It's halflings. Halflings have that wonderful halfling luck thing that allows them to reroll ones on saves, ability checks. So that any ones on a d20 basically, you can reroll. You have to take the new number though. Why this? Well, our build is going to add pretty high numbers to your attack roll, but that doesn't matter if you roll a 1. A 1 is always a miss, just like a 20 is always a crit. So we want to get rid of those ones, and by reducing the odds of rolling a 1 from 1 in 20 to technically 1 in 400, that's a drastic reduction of chances to roll a 1. So that's why we grab our halfling. It doesn't really matter which subtype of halfling you take. I think I took start halflings because I like their resistances. I like my races a little bit tanky, la-di-da. But the second build could work equally well with a Lightfoot halfling. It doesn't matter, especially not since we'll be changing our class ability bonuses thanks to the new rules of Tasha's anyway. So halflings are the way to go. Then they also have a class in common. Both builds are going to take one level of Cleric. And specifically, both of them are going to but they're going to take the Peace Cleric domain. Why? The Peace Cleric has something called Emboldening Bond. And what this basically does is casting a concentrationless bless on the number of people equal to your proficiency modifier, and you can use it a number of times per day, equal to your proficiency modifier as well. So that's really good because it's a concentrationless bless, so that means that free d4 that you can roll on attack rolls and saving throws and ability checks as well for everyone without having to focus on the bless spell. This already ups your chance to hit by 5 to 20%. The great news is, so this is good, but the great news is that this actually stacks with bless, since it is a differently named spell effect, and you don't have to concentrate on the Emboldening Bond. You can actually you can activate Emboldening Bond at level 1, targeting 2 people you would like to, of whom you would like to increase their odds to hit. Mind you, the 2 people you connect, let's say, have to be in 30 feet of each other for it to work. But that's not really the biggest issue. Yes, they can leave range. It just starts working again once they get close enough. It doesn't break the bond completely. But you can cast Bless on top of Emboldening Bond. That means from the get-go, Peace Clerics can actually add 2d4 to people's attack roll, save roll, and ability rolls. That's already insane because that's going to be a +2 up to a +8 modifier. So that is going to be our base groundwork from which we work. So our first build is a heavy support build and is going to do its utmost best to help your party members achieve what you want them to achieve, namely beating enemies into a pulp. Your Halfling Cleric base is going to be supplemented with many levels of Artificer for this purpose. And actually, we're even going to start out as an Artificer because Artificers give you a Constitution save proficiency, which is going to be really helpful because I think at all times your Artificer is going to be focusing on some spell to help the party. So being good, being better at that is going to be a vital point of the build here. So we start out as Artificer. Weapons and armor, I don't really care. For ability scores, I adjusted my halfling racial bonuses from, what was it, dexterity and constitution. I kept constitution, but I moved the dexterity bonus to intelligence because I'm playing an Artificer. So I started out with an 8 in strength, 12 in dexterity. You are going to be wearing medium armor, so a little bit of help there to keep you alive. Don't forget you have a shield as well as an Artificer, so you're going to be just fine when it comes to armor class. A 16 in constitution, we want those concentration spells to stay up and we want to stay alive. A 16 in intelligence because you're an Artificer. Then a 14 in wisdom. You can make do with a 13. You can move those 2 points to somewhere else if you want to up strength, charisma, or whatever. But I was like, man, I'll take 14, and then I have a nice +2 in wisdom as well. It adds some flavor, makes you a very thoughtful Artificer. It's nice. And then an 8 in charisma as well. When it comes to spells, there's 2 must picks at this level. The first one is going to be Firebolt as your cantrip because it is a spell based on an attack roll, and that is what we'll be going for. We're going to buff attack rolls up to wazoo, so you want a cantrip with an attack roll as well. The good thing is your cantrip damage will not be delayed because obviously we're mixing spell casting levels and your spell progression is going to be a little bit delayed, but your spell damage from your cantrips will not because that is tied to your total level, so that's great. And the other spell that I want you to pick up is Fairy Fire. So right away at level 1 you can start helping out the party by giving them advantage on attack rolls. Somebody once calculated that having advantage roughly equals a +5 bonus. You can still fail with advantage, don't worry about it. And it is save reliant, of course, so the enemies can dodge it, but it's a good start for what we want to do. I'm going to do all the Artificer levels first, and then we'll add the Cleric level. There's no set order. Technically, it would also work if you take the Cleric level as level 2 and then build on. That's a bit your own gut feeling, depending on what level you start your campaign at, you know. So, level 2 for Artificer mainly gives us access to infusions. We are here to help other people hit, so you should probably pick up the enhanced weapon and enhanced arcane focus infusions if you can hand them out in the party. Alas, and that's a bit sad, the enhanced arcane focus can't work for yourself because you don't use an arcane focus. You can only cast enhanced arcane focus on like a staff or a wand, and you have to use it as your spellcasting focus, and you do not. You use your tools or your artisan tools or your thieving tools as your spellcasting modifier, and you cannot glue that on those things. Honestly, at my table, I would allow an Artificer to glue enhanced focus onto their tools. I mean, it's what they use to cast spells with, but, you know, it's there to help your friendly wizard, warlock, sorcerer, whatever, cast their arcane spells. Obviously, enhanced weapon is there to buff your martial characters even more. And then we go to level 3, and then we go for the Alchemist subclass. Why? Very simple, really. We want access to the elixirs. There is one elixir, I think it's called Boldness, which when you drink it buffs your attack roll by, you guessed it, a d4. So this is actually another bless effect that you can have active. I'm checking the duration here. It's the next minute, so that's good enough. That's 10 turns in combat. That's the same as most buffs do. So this is an extra bless-like effect that you will be able to stack on top of the bonds feature from the Cleric and the bless spell cast by your Cleric level. So Emboldening Bond, Bless, and Elixir of Boldness are going to be 3 bless effects that you can have active on any party at any given point. Now I know you, at the start of the day, you randomly roll for which elixir is going to be the one that you get, but don't forget that you can spend spell slots to pick an elixir and make additional ones. So It is possible, if you don't get the boldness one at the start of the day, to just spend a slot and get an extra bottle of boldness for your friendly neighborhood fighter to help out during a fight. So that's your first 3 Artificer levels. That's pretty much all you need from those levels. And then, if you haven't picked it yet, that's when you pick the Cleric level. Yes, I know we're delaying our ability score increase by a level, but the concept has priority here. So after those 3, or during those 3 Artificer levels, you pick up the 1 level in Peace Domain Cleric, giving you access to Emboldening Bond and Bless. So now, at the start of combat, you can bond people. It's an action, of course. You can bless people as another action. If you see combat coming, you can quickly go like boop boop before combat, of course. And then your friendly, whatever who needs the buff, can drink one of your elixirs, and that person will have his attack roll plus proficiency plus modifier plus 3d4s, which means you're going to buff every attack roll that person will make by anything in between 3 and 12. This is the point where your characters should stop missing with their attacks, really. 12 plus 12, if you hit the magic 12, I know it's only a very small chance, but if you hit the magic plus 12, that is a plus 60% chance to hit. As long as the person is not rolling a 1, they should be hitting at that point, because they will have a bonus from themselves, their primary bonus, strength for a fighter, for example, plus your stuff. I mean, this is how you prevent people from failing to hit. And don't forget that all of those d4s also work for any ability check or any saving throw that has to be made for the full minute. And yes, the potion only buffs 1 person, but the double bless can bless whatever. Proficiency, so the Emboldening Bond blesses your proficiency, which at level 5 is going to be 3 people, so that's next level. You will be able to bond 3 people together. And Bless can do 4 people, if I'm not mistaken. So you can buff your party immensely when it comes to attack rolls. If you have spell slots to spare, you can hand out multiple flasks of boldness for multiple triple bless effects. There you go. That's actually the main idea of this build. At level 5, we're not going to be too complicated here. There's 2 options. Either you buff your intelligence because you want to hit as well, even though you get the same insane buffs. You want to hit with Firebolt, and quite a few Artificer features are related to your intelligence score. So it's one of the few classes where I like to delay picking up feats until I've got at least 18 intelligence. But there is one thing you could do. I have forgotten the name, shame on me, but there is a halfling racial feat that allows you to use your reaction to have somebody else re-roll a 1 if they roll a 1 on a d20. So basically you can transfer your halfling luck to, I think it's called bountiful luck, I'm not sure. You can transfer your luck racial to somebody else as a reaction, but then you cannot use your own feature until the end of your next round, I think. But this is building on top of the triple bless. Now you can also re-roll somebody else's 1, which is the one thing they can roll to still miss at this point. Anything else should be pretty close to hitting anyway, so having them re-roll their 1s is great. So either you pump your intelligence to 18, or you pick up the, I think it is bountiful luck halfling feat. One of those will work. I'm going to give you a quick overview of what else you will be getting that is important here. Of course, after a long while, your infusions are going to become stronger. The Empowered Weapon and the Empowered Arcane Focus will go to a +2 bonus. But there is also one other thing that you might want to keep an eye on. There is a Ring of Spell Restoration that the Artificer can make through one of their infusions when you have the slot available to activate it. And you can use it to restore a spell slot that is 3rd level or below. At its most basic, this means you have an extra cast of Bless per day if it should be necessary. If you need another spell, you can use it for that as well. But that way we increase the longevity of our spell slots, which also means more potions, which also means more boldness flasks to hand out, while still being able to cast Bless and the Bond feature from the Cleric. And at higher levels, even though it's not going to amplify your attack rolls, I would like to point out Flash of Genius. It's level 7, I think, for Artificers. This allows you to add your intelligence modifier to it doesn't have to be failed, no, to an ability check or saving throw. So if you bumped up your intelligence to 18, this means you can use your reaction to give a +4 to any save or ability check you see. And you can do this an amount of times per day equal to your intelligence modifier as well. So if on top of those 3d4 somebody still manages to fail their save, you can add another +4 on top of it to make sure they don't get disintegrated or whatever. And that's actually the main features for this build. At higher levels, that's the last thing I'll add for this build, you get the ability to store spells in items, and other people can produce the spell's effects with that item, and they use their concentration. So that could mean that you give you store Fairy Fire in the boots of the fighter, I don't know, don't care where, and the fighter can actually cast Fairy Fire using your spell save DC and his concentration. So that's the point where you can have Fairy Fire, Bless, Emboldening Bond, and your Flask of Boldness active all together. That means you're rolling D20 plus proficiency plus your ability score modifier plus 3d12 with advantage. If people are still missing, go play another game, really. And that is truly where our first build concludes. The Artificer Cleric, the master of buffing people around him so that they're sure to hit with their attack rolls. Our second build is going to supplement our Halfling Cleric base with many levels of Monk. This is less of a support build and more of a I want to be really sure that I'm hitting build. In this case, we will start with our Cleric at level 1. Why? Cleric grants more proficiencies than Monk does. It's simple as that. Yes, half of them won't be used because we need to be unarmored and unshielded to use our martial arts feature from the Monk class, but still, having more proficiencies is worse than not having the proficiencies, so we're taking those. Also, the Clerics have a Wisdom save, and that's good later on against mind control. I think monks have strength and dexterity. Dexterity save is obviously genius, but meh, I'm okay with the wisdom save. So Cleric for proficiencies. Of course it's the Peace Cleric. We are going for that Bless Emboldening Bond combo straight from level 1. You're going to be able to help people get 1d4 extra or 2d4 extra if you stack the stuff. And then we start taking in monk levels, and actually there's only one really relevant monk ability that we're here for, but you obviously gain a lot of great stuff to help you control the battlefield. You will gain Stunning Strike. You have many attacks with Flurry of Blows, which makes the double Bless effect even better for yourself because you are going to be performing the highest number of attacks on the battlefield. So that's actually really good to have it on yourself. Ability scores, we went for 18 strength, and 16 in dexterity, 14 in constitution, 8 intelligence, 16 wisdom, very high wisdom for a monk, and a 12 in charisma. Again, I adapted my racial bonus here. I took a Lightfoot halfling and I took the charisma bonus and made that into a wisdom bonus to have 16 dex, 16 wisdom. Wisdom is going to contribute to our armor class once we start taking the monk level, so that's actually really important to have together with dexterity and constitution for staying alive. So your level 1 cleric becomes a level 2 cleric monk. You cast off your armor, you throw away your weapon and what have you, and you start punching stuff in the face. As you progress through the monk levels, at level 4 being monk 3 cleric 1, you are going to become a Kensei monk. Why? You get to pick a shiny weapon that you can beat stuff with. You can use it to increase your armor class, and later on the weapon will also always be magical, which is really good because you are going to be fighting a lot with your weapon for this build. And maybe you don't find magic weapons. Maybe this is a low magic campaign, or your DM just isn't dropping the weapons, or you're not finding them because you're walking straight past them. Don't blame the DM always. So being able, I think that's at monk level 6, your weapons become magical, and that is actually really good, period. But the main thing that we're here for is a new feature from Tasha's Cauldron to Everything, and that is called Focused Aim. Which is a 5th level monk feature, so you'll get it at level 6, together with extra attack, so that's going to be a really important level for your monk. And basically what this allows you to do is when you miss, you can spend 1 to 3 key points. At this level, it's a lot, but later on, it's not that much, and don't forget key points reset on a short rest. And each point that you spend will increase your attack roll by 2, so 3 key equals +6 on your attack roll. You still do have those 2d4s from the double bless that we have going on. So this is potentially, let's say, if I look at the character, he's level 8 in my character sheet, of course. He has a base chance to hit of +7. You add +7, +6 is +13, +2d4, so that's going to be +15 all the way up to +21 to hit. I think we'll figure something out there. I think this monk is going to be capable of hitting. And hitting is important for a monk because then you land your stunning strikes or what have you. So this monk, this Kensei monk, melee Kensei monk mainly, is going to be really good at hitting stuff themselves. And with the double blessed gimmick from the 1 level in Peace Cleric, you are going to have a really high chance of hitting stuff and making your party hit stuff. The second spell that I took, I almost forgot here, but the second spell that I took for my monk build here was Guiding Bolt, because that also helps people to hit. I also took it for the Artificer, by the way. I took Bless and Guiding Bolt because both of those spells enhance somebody's chances to hit. Guiding Bolt is also an attack roll, by the way, so it already benefits from your emboldening bond, what have you, shenanigans that are all up and running. Even from Bless, it can profit. It can be your second spell. And then somebody else gets an even bigger chance to hit. So Guiding Bolt, good stuff. And that, in short, is really what this monk build is all about. Being sure that you hit stuff and helping the party hit some stuff along the road. And there we are, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. These 2 builds have been brought to you by me and my brain. I hope you enjoyed them. I think especially, it started out with the first build. I think that can be a really valuable party member if you have an attack roll focused party. Tell me what you think about them in the comments down below, and if all goes well, my dear people, I will see you again in 2 weeks in the Attic Dungeon.